Hello, my friend. I am so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this month's astrology. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a huge month for you. In this week's episode, I'll be diving deep into the transits of this week. I will also go through June's astrology and everything we've been waiting for in terms of Jupiter moving into Cancer. Stay tuned for this. I will also be going through why strategy alone in your business is not enough, and you need to focus on your confidence. You need to 10x your confidence to receive those sales, to receive those clients, and to help more people. I will then end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. Now, starting off with May 26th, we have the new moon in Gemini. If you missed last week's episode exclusively on this new moon in Gemini, please go watch that first because that's going to give you some really juicy details as to what to expect from this energy, how the next 6 months are going to affect you based on the intentions you set at this time. If you want to join me for a new moon in Gemini manifestation ritual with the Moon Sign Creative Community, go click the link down below to join us. If you're watching this on the 26th, after the 26th, it will go back onto a waitlist, so you would have to apply for the Moon Sign Creative Community. Go check that out if you want to understand how this new moon is really hitting your chart specifically, while also doing a manifestation ritual to call in new energy and what you desire in a close circle of friends who really value self-growth, who value astrology, and who value compassion, empathy, and how you can tune into your own power. Now, I do want to mention the new moon in Gemini is taking place on the 27th Pacific Standard Time, so take note of that. There is a replay available for the Moon Sign Creative Community, so I do want to give you a heads up on that if you just want to do the manifestation ritual. Now, what's also happening on the 26th is Mercury moves into Gemini. This is going to really shift how we communicate and how we think. Mercury is at home in the sign of Gemini, meaning that it just really loves being in this sign. So be prepared for more conversations, be prepared for more ideas to come to you. I will say Mercury in Gemini is a bit more reactive than, let's say, Mercury in Virgo, which is its other home sign, its exaltation. So with Mercury in Gemini, even though this is a lovely placement, people can be a bit more reactive in terms of communication. People will want to communicate a lot more. This can still feel a little bit scattered, yet you're going to be able to come up with more ideas during this time. So use this to your advantage. This communication style is a bit more flirty, it's a bit more fun, it's a bit more exciting, I will say, in comparison to Mercury in Taurus. And I do feel like we're going to be leaning towards our friends and community a lot more with Mercury and Gemini to get a sounding board, to talk things through, and to really understand, okay, how can I get a better grasp on this situation? I need to really digest this by talking it out loud. On the same day, Mercury in Gemini sextiles Neptune in Aries. This is very mystical. This is very lovely for doing something creative, doing something artistic. Since it's on the new moon, this looks like a really good ritual to set intentions. I do think we're going to have this more romantic, dreamy energy. I think we're going to also be a little bit confused by some people, but we're going to really be curious of the stories that people are sharing with us. We're going to be more curious about how to get in tuned with our sense of spirituality, what that looks like. This is such a lovely day to set intentions, to understand, okay, this is the energy I want in terms of envisioning my future. So a great day to do visualization, a great day to journal, to meditate, to do something that feels very soul nourishing, and also just a great day to express yourself. Now, Mercury in Gemini will also sextile Saturn in Aries. So we're trying to get more serious about our communication. We're trying to really understand, how are we talking to ourselves? What does this look like? How are we leading with intention? How are we communicating our desires, what we want for ourselves? How are we communicating who we are? That can be a major, major theme that comes up for you right now. This is very supportive. I do think we're going to talk a lot about our long-term vision and our long-term goals during this new moon in Gemini. Again, go watch the New Moon in Gemini podcast episode. It's so good. It will help you so much with understanding this energy and how it's going to affect you for the next 6 months. Then on May 27th, we have Mercury in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. This is where conversations can get a bit more intense. This is helpful in terms of us understanding, okay, maybe I need to change up how I communicate in a community, in terms of my social media strategy, in terms of my partnerships. This looks very supportive. It looks like you are leaning on the support you have, maybe a mentor, a friend, a coach, an astrologer, whatever this looks like for you, yet it's helping you understand, I need to change something, and Pluto wants you to evolve. Pluto wants you to really consider this and see, how can you be a bit more vulnerable? What does this look like? This feels very helpful. This feels very helpful in terms of how you are coming across. It feels as though you're trying to step it up and really communicate and stay connected to a group of friends or your community or your social networks. Then on May 30th, we have a Mercury Kazimi. This is when Mercury meets up with the Sun in the sign of Gemini. So you could get some really big realizations this day. The Sun illuminates. The Sun is bringing something to your attention. And because this is a Mercury Kazimi, this is in regards to your communication, your partnerships, your friendships, your relationship to siblings, your relationship to your local community. This is being highlighted right now. You could get a big realization this day of, okay, how have I been approaching this? How can I get more honest with myself? How can I see something that maybe I've been ignoring or maybe I have missed in the past? And this ultimately is super beneficial for you in terms of understanding your next steps forward. This starts a huge new cycle for you when it comes to your communication. Keep this in mind because this Kazimi is happening in the sign of Gemini. I do feel as though there might be a friend or a community member or someone you're close to that helps you make this realization. Now, to end off the week, on June 1st, we have Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. This is a very sensitive day. This is a very sensitive day. This is a very tender day. Old wounds around your sense of worthiness can come up this day. People can feel very sensitive. I will say it could feel as though you're feeling very uncomfortable with something when it comes to your finances or your love life. This feels as though there's something that's happening and it's triggering a certain part of you that doesn't feel worthy, that doesn't feel deserving to be loved or seen for who you are. Ultimately, this is beneficial though, right? Please keep this in mind. This looks like a day where you could be a bit more vulnerable with the people in your life. Just note that if someone is not self-aware, if someone is not doing the healing work, people could be on edge. People could react in a bit more of this wounded state. However, ultimately, this is helping you see which parts of yourself do you still need to accept, that you still need to love, that you still need to care for, that you still need to move through in terms of seeing that you're worthy just as you are, seeing that you're lovable just as you are, and embracing your vulnerability as a superpower. I do think there's going to be a lot in terms of money and relationships that come up for you this day, and it's going to help you see what money mindset work do you still need to do, what work around self-love do you still need to do, and how can you show more love to the people you care about. What does this look like? Since it's in the sign of Aries, there will be a lot when it comes to self-image, when it comes to how you see yourself, how you are portraying yourself, how you are leading, what this looks like. Okay, so wounds around this area are coming up, but they're coming up for you to heal so that you can grow, so that you can flourish, so that you can see yourself as powerful. Now, those are the major transits of this week. Now, let's get into June's astrology. All right, so June is going to be a very huge month for you. We have one of our most awaited transits of the year happening in June, with Jupiter moving into Cancer. This is a very, very lucky transit. Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer, meaning that it loves being in the sign. We haven't seen this or experienced this since 2014. It's been a long time. This ultimately is going to be super, super beneficial for us. However, I do want to give you a heads up that we do still have some tense aspects that are happening in June when this is happening, meaning that we're not going to feel that abundant and lucky energy of Jupiter in Cancer right away because of this. I'm going to explain why. Let me just give you an overview of the major dates for June to take note of. On June 6th, we have Venus entering the sign of Taurus. This is lovely. Venus is at home in the sign of Taurus, meaning that it just feels very comfortable in this sign. So we're going to experience a lot more ease when it comes to money, when it comes to love, when it comes to the material world. This looks really, really exciting for June. Then on June 8th, we have Mercury entering Cancer. Our thinking and communication is going to feel a bit more empathetic, a bit more compassionate, a bit more intuitive. So this is a very, very different energy when it comes to how we connect with others. Then on June 9th, we have Jupiter entering Cancer, one of the most awaited, luckiest transits of 2025. If you haven't watched your 2025 horoscope, go watch that, because that's going to give you a good overview of what this means for your rising sign, what this means for your sun sign. Take advantage of this energy because we won't have it for another approximately 11 years. So take advantage of this energy. Jupiter in Cancer is so lovely in terms of just receiving more luck, receiving more abundance, receiving in the sense of emotional fulfillment, of feeling that joy, of feeling that hope, of feeling more nurtured and taken care of. This is going to be a really good year ahead in terms of planning out how you want to grow in terms of your home life, in terms of if you want children, in terms of your creativity, your intuition, your compassion. This is great if you have a profession that really is centered around taking care of others in some way, or just feeling a bit more nurtured in that energy. I will be going through this a lot more in depth during that week, and I have exclusive horoscopes for my VIP members on Jupiter entering Cancer. Hopefully by the time this is out, those are out, or it could be the week of, so stay tuned for that. If you cannot wait for those, check out your 2025 horoscope. I've mentioned it for all the signs. This is the time to watch those. Then on June 11th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. I wrote about this as well in your Gemini season horoscopes, so you can see how this will affect your sign in those horoscopes. Yet I will give an exclusive podcast episode on this as well. Then on June 17th, we have Mars entering Virgo. This is going to really shift things when it comes to how you date in relationships and also how you work. Really good to keep in mind. This will be a huge shift because we've had Mars in Leo for quite some time, especially because of that Mars retrograde at the beginning of this year. This is really going to shift the energy in a huge way. Then on June 21st, Cancer season begins, and then we have a bit more of an intense new moon in Cancer on June 25th. I will be diving deep into that new moon and how to understand it, how to best utilize it in an upcoming episode. We end off the month on June 26th with Mercury entering Leo. Now, I will say, with this much change in the sky in terms of these transits, June's energy is going to be very, very different than May's astrology and the beginning of this year. Keep this in mind. I want to give you a heads up because even though Jupiter in Cancer is very lucky, very expansive, very opportunistic, and very lovely, the issue is that we have some squares mid-month, especially around June 15th, where things can feel a bit more restrictive. It could feel like we're not seeing the full benefits of Jupiter in Cancer just yet, especially in June. This can feel as though there's some tension when it comes to how we're growing, how we're expanding, what we want to call in, and the responsibilities we have, especially with Saturn and Aries, how we are showing up for ourselves, how authority figures are showing up, and how we have to balance that out. On June 15th, we have Mars also square to Uranus. This feels very uncomfortable. This feels very, very uncomfortable, especially because Saturn is also going to square Jupiter this same day. Take note that the 15th is a bit intense. Mid-month is a bit intense. The new moon in Cancer isn't going to be the most lovely new moon. It's still going to be helpful. It's still going to be a great new moon to manifest with if you know how to use that energy. Yet I wanted to share this to manage your expectations of what's in store for you in June. There's going to be a lot of change, but change is uncomfortable, right? We have to take note of that. Sometimes you're going to want to change things. You're going to want your new life to come in. I did say that 2025 is going to change your life. However, for that to take place, you have to say goodbye to certain things in your life, especially during that full moon in Sagittarius, because full moons are when we release and let go of the past. I did forget to mention that if you want to use the new moon and full moon to your advantage in the moon sign creative community, doors are only going to be open during new moons now, meaning that you can't enter the community during a full moon. So if that's something you want to do, if you want to get the replay of events, make sure you join the waitlist to know when doors are open, because we only have a limited time for those doors to open for new members. And I know how life-changing the community has been to not only myself, but the community members in the group, how uplifting it's been, how magical it's been, how people have been manifesting new relationships, dream homes, dream pets, dream trips, getting engaged, all these wonderful, amazing things. If you want that support, I'll leave a link to that down below. We'd be happy to see you. We'd be happy to be there for you, to support you in whatever you want your dream life to look like. Now, I really hope this gave you a good overview of what's in store for this month. I'm still super, super excited for June's astrology. Honestly, it's going to be a very interesting month. Please let me know down in the comments if you're excited. And if you're on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps me out, especially if you like getting these free weekly astrology forecasts. Now, for this week's topic, I want to focus on why strategy is not enough in your business, why you need to build your confidence, and why this is a game changer in your business to attract those dream clients, to get those sales, but also help and impact more people. And I share this because I'm going to use my own personal experience of this to help you if you currently have a business, if you currently have a wellness business or a spiritual business or a creative business. This is for you. I will say, I have been in business for myself for quite a few years. I have had my own business since 2014. I've had my own astrology practice since January 2021. And I've been through a lot of ups and downs when working for myself. I've seen this so often in terms of people starting out and just launching their businesses around their self-confidence in what they offer, and how this is actually repelling clients from you. And I will say I've been there. And I will say I've hired a lot of coaches and a lot of mentors over the last few years. Some have been really instrumental to the growth of my business, and others I've seen it not play out in the exact way I wished. However, I still gained something from all of those mentors and coaches. I want to put that into perspective because what I wish I knew years ago was not one person can tell you how to run your business. Not one person can show you everything you need to know in your business. Having realistic expectations of what one person can offer is very, very important when choosing a mentor or a coach. And it's good to get someone who has a holistic perspective, though. I will say that because the times when I've only hired a coach because of strategy, that has been really, really hard for me. I will say that because I would implement their strategy, I would do the things that they're telling me to do, and nothing would happen. Completely nothing, right? And I want to remind you that someone else's strategy might not work for you. You might have to try it a few times. You might have to go at it again and again and again. However, again, the topic of this week is you could have all the strategy. It could be well proven. It could work for so many people. But if you do not have the confidence in what you are offering, in what you are selling, in what you are helping people with, it's not going to work the same way it works for someone else. You might not receive the clients that you're looking for. You need to build your confidence in whatever ways you can. Finding a mentor who is a bit more holistic in terms of how they help you can really push you to grow that confidence. And I'm going to explain why. This is because they're going to see your business in a different way. They're going to see which limiting beliefs are holding you back from taking that action. What are you telling yourself about how you see yourself in terms of your self-image? If you find the right mentor, if you find the right coach for you, they're going to help you see the gaps in terms of why your business is not growing, why your business isn't progressing. Perhaps you already get a lot of sales, but you know you want to sell more. You know you're capable of more. This is when you hire a mentor to really see, okay, how have you been limiting yourself? What self-sabotaging behaviors have you been doing? When it comes to confidence, I want you to look at your birth chart and look at the specific placements in your chart that make you feel very confident and lean on those placements by tapping into that energy. For example, for me, this is my Leo sun, where I want to express myself. I want to share my knowledge. I want to film myself to help other people, to share examples, to lead with inspiration, to lead with confidence in this area because I'm meant to be seen as a Leo sun. If you have a Leo sun, you are meant to be seen. However, the fear of being seen is very, very real because being seen can feel very vulnerable. And the thing is that I also have Chiron in Leo. And what I've noticed for certain people who have a Leo sun and Chiron in Leo is you need to do more deep, deep healing work around that fear of being seen. For myself, it has been reminding myself that it's going to feel very uncomfortable to share online. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. It's going to feel hard, and I have to push through it. Yes, things can feel easier than they have to be. I will say now, this year, this is the easiest it's felt for me in terms of putting myself online. If I go back to how I was in high school, for example, I hated the way I looked so much. I hated every aspect of myself in high school that I would rip up photos of myself during this time, my confidence was at an all-time low. My self-worth and self-value were at an all-time low. I would say I was very, very depressed. I was not in a good state. This was really hard for me. I would avoid pictures, avoid videos at all costs. I would do anything to avoid this, right? I've made a complete 180 in my life to going from hiding from every single photo taken of me to ripping them up, being dramatic in this sense, to loving myself so much and showing up for myself and actually loving the work I put out, loving the content I put out. I was meant to be seen, yet it took a lot of healing work. And if I didn't know about Chiron in Leo, I don't think I would have actually been able to put myself online because I wouldn't understand the fear of being seen to that depth that Chiron in Leo gave me. Because that wound stemmed from my father and his death and what that did to me personally. This wouldn't necessarily be for everyone with Chiron in Leo. Yet Chiron and Leo could have some wounds around your father and being seen by your father, for example. Now, in terms of building that confidence, I'm going to share a few things that have really, really helped me. The first one being looking at my birth chart, really honing into that energy of how can I embrace the best parts of my birth chart that I love the most. You should love your entire birth chart, by the way. Yet, if you can focus on certain placements in your birth chart to feel more confident, maybe your Venus sign, for example, because that's going to make you feel beautiful, that's going to make you feel very nourished, that's going to make you feel magnetic. Focusing on your Jupiter sign, because that's going to make you feel more abundant, that's going to help you attract in more amazing blessings into your life. Or focusing on your sun sign because that's how you shine. That's how you put yourself out there. And if you don't feel that way, it's looking at your birth chart in depth to understand why, to understand which parts of your birth chart, such as certain aspects that are taking place between certain planets, how this could be affecting how you show up for yourself. Do this first. It is so life-changing to see this, to understand your birth chart in depth, because to know yourself, that's going to give you that success you're looking for. That's going to give you which areas of your life, of who you are, can you embrace so that you can step into your power, so that you can become the leader you want to be in whichever area of life you want to focus on. Now, another thing I would say that really helped me gain that confidence was practice, right? It's really understanding that it's going to be messy in the beginning. You are not going to be amazing at any new thing you start. It's very rare for that to happen. It's okay to be cringy. It's okay to be bad at something, because the more practice you do, the more you show up for yourself, the more you do it anyway, you're going to get better and better and better and better and better. I will tell you that, okay? Because for me, even if you look at my old videos, you can go back to YouTube, you can go check all my old videos. My energy is so different. My energy is so different, right? And my confidence now in how I show up for myself is a complete 180 because I had that practice. I put in the work. You can't expect to get that confidence without that practice, right? And when it comes to the beginning stages of a business, it's knowing that it's going to take a bit of time. For some people, it could be right away. Yet it's knowing that as long as you show up in your best energy and you hype yourself up, if you can hype yourself up with affirmations, if you do some mirror work, if you know that it's something you want to be doing for the rest of your life, if it's something that you know you're destined for, if it's something you know you love doing, that you would do, and you will do anything to keep doing it, this is the sign to build your confidence in it. Okay? Because that's going to be life-changing to attract the right clients to you. This is something to really consider when selling in your business and seeing that selling to other people is actually serving them. It's actually showing them what else is possible for them, how you could help them more. The last thing in terms of this that I want to point out is to focus on your confidence, you first have to focus on your self-love, right? I will say that it took me a very, very long time to fully get more confident in myself in terms of how I looked like, in terms of how I show up for myself, in terms of putting my work out there. I had to first learn to love myself deeply, deeply, okay? Because also, I will mention how your self love is a direct correlation to your self image, your confidence, and also how you make money. So, if you do not love yourself, if you do not see yourself in a good light, if you do not have a strong sense of self concept, it's going to be harder for you to make money. I will put that out there because I do have Venus as my chart ruler. It is in Virgo, it's retrograde, meaning that it is very, very difficult. I had to learn a lot of hard lessons around money, around love. I am finally in a really, really good place in terms of this, right? And it took me years to understand this deeply. And I will go deeper into the correlation between money and self love in next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. Yet, if you know you need a mentor, you need someone to really show you what you've been missing in terms of your business, how you are making sales and it's been good so far, yet you know you need a deeper approach to understanding how you're self-sabotaging yourself, to understand how can you show up for yourself online even more and be seen. This is what I help my clients with in the Boldest You mentorship program. I just have 3 spots left for this for the entire year. If you want my unique approach of combining astrology, your blueprint in terms of your birth chart, with the mindset work, the energetic work, the social media strategy, and the brand strategy to help you grow your business in an exponential way, to feel better about how you are putting yourself out there to sell your offers, to attract your dream clients, for things to feel easier and to save years off your life because you have someone in your corner. You have someone to see your blind spots based on your birth chart, as well as any limiting beliefs that have been holding you back from growing and helping more people. If this sounds perfect for you, you can apply for the program down below. Go check that out. Honestly, I'm very, very excited to work with more Boldest You mentees. This is so exciting. My Boldest You mentees have gotten such amazing exponential growth. And I love seeing how they've grown their clientele, they've made more money, they've helped more people, but they've also taken time for themselves and taken care of themselves in a deeper way, such as one of my clients who went to Mexico for a vacation last year just to celebrate and relax and recharge, and another client who is taking more of her summer off to really fully rest, to be with her family. It is about having that balance in life so that you can do more things you love and be with people you love while making a huge positive impact on the world. I'll leave a link down below if you want to apply. Now let's get into your tarot reading for this week. All right, the first card out is the 8 of Cups. So I will say in June, you're trying to leave a difficult situation behind. This is such a good sign. You are finally saying goodbye to something that no longer emotionally serves you. You are not putting up with it anymore. You are focused on your healing. Listen to your intuition of what this is for you, okay? I say this because with the moon on this card, it is honing in on your inner voice of what your inner voice is telling you to do. So you're leaving behind a really emotionally taxing situation. It's not going to weigh on you in the same way anymore. This is great. What's also interesting is we have the Devil card reverse. So I think there's going to be some secrets that come out in June. This is also a card where you're starting to see how you've been self-sabotaging even more. You're starting to see which limits are you imposing on yourself, especially the subconscious mind. I'm really hearing this. this is an energy where maybe you were obsessing over something or someone in the past, maybe a certain attachment, and you're realizing, oh shoot, this is just wasting my time. This is not helping me. This is the month where you're going to catch this and you're ready to let this go. You're ready to see this as, okay, I need to stop playing mind games with myself. I need to stop getting emotionally attached in these situations. Practice detachment, practice doing some shadow work for yourself, because I do see this energy as you seeing yourself, seeing which areas are you improving in your life. What have you been doing to stop these blessings in your life to come in? Because sometimes it's our fear, it's our doubt that is really holding us back from receiving more money, receiving more love, right? So this is going to be a month where you're going to see this even more intensely. You're letting this go, okay? The next card out is the Three of Cups reverse. You might be saying goodbye to a friend this month. I'm sorry to say. You could feel like maybe you want to distance yourself from a certain group of friends. Maybe you no longer connect with them in the same way. Perhaps you're feeling as though they're not celebrating your success, or you're feeling as though, okay, this is not how I wanted things to turn out, or I don't feel as though they're celebrating me in the way that I wish they were. It could feel like it's harder to have a conversation with them, or you could just feel like you need some time for yourself. This could look like just taking some distance away from them, or just really protecting your energy from this group of people. Keep this in mind. Not the most fun energy, I will say. I asked what our challenge is this week, and we got the Page of Swords. So with this being our challenge for this week, this looks like you're in this observant mode. You're trying to just watch and take notes of what's happening. However, it's not helping you take action. It's not helping you with the things you need to be doing. You could be in your head, you could be potentially, the darkest side of this is watching your ex's stuff, or just observing certain things from other people and telling yourself, okay, how can I do this? Why can't I do this? Right? So it's passing judgment in that way, or you're getting obsessed about a past situation. We want to break free from this. We need to break free from this, right? It's time to move forward. It's time to move forward and show yourself what's possible. I asked what would help us in terms of this challenge. And we got the Ace of Wands reverse. So this is an energy where you might not feel as confident as you want to feel, which is an interesting card to pull on this week's episode on confidence. But I will say this is an energy where whatever you can do to give yourself that validation that you're seeking, that's going to be very, very important for you. Okay, so celebrate your wins every single day. Write them down in a journal. Write down how you are celebrating yourself. Write down what you love about yourself. This is going to be a month to really, really focus on this, because this is hindering the great, amazing blessings that are coming in. Really focus on what's going right now. Shift your perspective. Focus on what's going well in your life. Yet I see this as this is a week to really focus on that confidence for yourself. Dress up in your favorite outfit. Do things that nourish your soul. Do something creative. Be a beginner. Take that art class, or do that ritual, or do something that feels very invigorating. Do that workout. Do things to come back into that confidence for yourself, because that self-doubt is not helping you. That's really, really hindering your growth. So focus on you, focus on self-love, focus on compassion. Just know that it's not a bad thing to want validation, but just know you can give yourself that validation. You could hype yourself up. You can celebrate yourself, okay? So remind yourself of this. Your oracle cards are deep intuition. Tune in to what your inner voice is telling you to do right now. Listen to that intuition. You also got gratitude. So really focus on what's going right in your life right now. Focus on all your blessings. That's going to amplify them. The last card out is whatever you want is out there somewhere. Again, this is a beautiful card. Just know that whatever you want for your life, whatever desires you want, you can have it. It exists. It's just calling that in. So I really hope this helped, friend. I really hope it helped. If you want help in growing your wellness or creative business in 2025, and you want my support, you know I'm the mentor for you. You know my holistic approach is going to help you get to that next level. Check out the Boldest You mentorship program. I'm going to leave a link to that down below. If you want to use the new moon and full moon to your advantage, come join the Moon Sign Creative community. It's so much fun. It is honestly a life-changing community. Everyone is so sweet, so kind, so empathetic. And this is the community to really grow your own power, to grow your magic. So I'll leave the link to the waitlist down below. You can go check that out. Thank you so much for watching, friend. Let me know in the comments if this resonated with you, what's been happening for you. And just remember, the universe has your back, and with peace and love, take care.